Hello, my name is Dr. James Sutton, and I'm a psychologist who has for a number of years researched, written, and spoken on issues and interventions with emotionally and behaviorally at-risk children and adolescents. My books are in the libraries. In my live training programs, parents, foster parents, teachers, counselors, and child service professionals always comment on how difficult it is to work with an angry youngster. One question in particular is asked over and over again. Why do these youngsters seem to want to stay angry? Well, let's take a look at it. Young people are the most authentic humans on this planet, yet, as you probably already know, many of them are hurting. They are really hurting. What continues to fascinate me the most about this topic of angry behavior in young people is how our typical interventions, that is, the ones our parents and teachers probably used on us, are not only ineffective, they sometimes can make situations and problems even worse. Put another way, sometimes the interventions we use, especially with a really angry youngster, only serve to make the issues and problems and all of the things that happen worse. With the very best of intentions, it is possible to drive that anger and pain even deeper. I know. Unfortunately, I've done it. Why is anger so difficult to address? Well, there are a lot of reasons, but let me cover two of them in this short program. First of all, anger is powerful. It's a God-given emotion that is tied to survival. We need it. Sometimes that keeps us going, and things that keep us going shouldn't be easy to stop. The issue with some young people, of course, is that their anger gets stuck in the on mode. It's never off. Actually, it's not the anger, but rather how it is expressed, how it gets out of its box to create havoc. That's the issue. And this is precisely why angry and impulsive behaviors are by far the most difficult behaviors to change. But you probably already knew that. The other reason why anger is so difficult to address effectively is summed up in this observation. Have you ever noticed how you can point by point share with a youngster all of the consequences to fall upon them if they ever do that again? Yet they do it again, often kicking it up a notch in the process. Is it because they didn't understand the consequences? All the stuff that they would lose for their inappropriateness? I don't think so, because these kids could quote you the consequences chapter and verse after they did it again. The bottom line is that in many cases, more and tougher consequences are simply not the solution. They don't work. When they don't work, it's because something more powerful is reinforcing and paying off the inappropriate behavior. It's pushing the child or adolescent to stay angry. It's as if they're being paid not to change. That something more powerful is actually four somethings. They serve to reinforce and drive any behavior even deeper and make them incredibly resistant to consequences and redirection. The four are distance, control, release, and insulation. Again, they are distance, control, release, and insulation. Each of these is a powerful reinforcer of the behaviors we don't want. Let's take a closer look. Distance. Angry children need space. Sometimes they need a lot of space. If they don't get it, they will create it. Even in a classroom setting, some youngsters seem to need more room than others, and yet we always seem to set the tables and the chairs at the exact same distances apart. Just try to get into the space and the face of a youngster who is already frustrated and irritable. "Get away from me," they might say to a friend who is only trying to help, and perhaps they even punctuate what they say with a punch or a shove. What happens then? Well, the other person backs off, right? This immediately reinforces the inappropriate behavior that reestablished the distance. So what do we do typically with a youngster who screams at, pushes, and punches those who get too close? We isolate them, don't we? So that they can't do any more damage. Initially, this option makes sense. It's damage control. But extended isolation tends to give this youngster exactly what he acted out for in the first place: distance. Control is another one. The truth is, a good many frustrated, irritable, and impulsive youngsters feel that their insecurities and needs are going to be tomorrow's front page news. Everyone is going to know about them. And I would go so far as to say it even terrifies this child. Let's say a student, a very poor reader, knows her time to read aloud in class is coming quickly. Just before it comes her turn, she creates a disturbance, perhaps by throwing her book across the room, or worse yet, bouncing it off someone's head. She is immediately removed from class, where she doesn't have to do the worst possible thing: read. To her, it's better to be a behavior problem than publicly demonstrate she can hardly read a lick. Any behavior that alters the immediate course of circumstances and events will be reinforced because it works. Release is another one. This makes the most sense because that old adrenaline burst that accompanies an expression of anger feels good. It's a relief. And it's easy to want to chase the rush, so to speak. So much so that it can be addictive. And this is precisely why the rage of spousal abuse is so difficult to manage. And the last of the four is insulation. Just as the rubber coating on an electrical wire protects one from being shocked, anger and anger outbursts insulate a youngster from experiencing the pain of what is beneath it. Things like ridicule, embarrassment, hurt, sadness, incompetence, and rejection. Denial, minimization, and a focus on remaining angry serve as detours from dealing with the stuff that's underneath. The problem is the stuff bubbles up anyway, adding fuel to the fire that's already raging on top. It becomes a vicious cycle, and healing is put on hold, sometimes permanently. So how do we work with a child or adolescent who just as soon stay angry and realizes some benefits in doing so? It's a tough challenge. In fact, I have difficulty addressing it in a full day of training, let alone in a short presentation. But here are a few highlights. First of all, the youngster must learn that, although we'll respect her need for space, there are some powerful benefits in working and achieving with others. Secondly, with empathy and sensitivity, we can address and strengthen the skills the youngster is afraid to use. Number 3, we can show the youngster how success feels great also. And last, number 4, we can show the youngster how addressing what hurts helps to draw the support and the strength of others as it eventually diminishes the pain. Well, that's it for this short program. For free information, including my blog, It's About Them, a free e-booklet, and my monthly newsletter, the ODD Management Digest, go to my website. That's www.docspeak.com. And that doc speak is one word, docspeak.com. This homepage can also direct you to information about training, keynote addresses, consulting, including consultation by telephone, and you can also contact my office directly at 1-800-659-6628 with any questions or requests for more information or whatever. And again, that toll-free number is 1-800-659-6628. Thank you, and God bless.